trust it.
The Rory.
Craig.
How long have you lived in Fitzroy?
I've been in Fitzroy for almost 1 year. Well, I started with the start of my semester.
Yeah.
I got a beer out of the way.
Yeah.
I've been living in a sort of share house just with the power from uni.
Yeah.
Up the road in Napier Street, and that's been really good.
Yeah. So this is your first place you lived in outside of?
Yeah. I came straight from school, straight from boarding school, straight from home living with mum and dad.
Yeah.
So I did the summer after I finished my year 12 at home, and then moved down into Fitzroy.
Yeah.
With two mates. Yeah.
And why did you decide to go to Fitzroy?
Well, need I say, it's got a reputation, you know, behind it. So,
yeah.
It's a bit of the Studentville. It's a bit of the kind of trendy side of town, and you know, basically, I have to drive through the city, back to Albert Park, and it's kind of this, you know, inner city opposite. You know, if you drew a mirror line down Swanson Street, you'd probably wind up at my house from my old place.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty far from my parents, except still inner. Yeah, that was one of the other things.
Yeah. So you grew up in Albert Park?
I grew up in Albert Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. But spent 5 years at boarding school before that, so it was just totally bizarre.
Yeah.
Really, living there. You're fucking skinner when you go to you're boarding a year, eh? You're staying in these communal showers. It's totally another world, you know. And most people get brainwashed, I suppose, by this kind of, you know, this essence of place and these rules and things. And 5 years down the track, they don't know anything else. And so, coming back to Melbourne, I had to, get out of home and just experience, get to Fitzroy, get in the thick of it.
Where was your school? Was it in the country?
I was in the country. It was in Geelong on the water. Yeah, it was this kind of pseudo paradise. It's like I'm sure you get these parents that come down from Melbourne, you know, rock up in their Mercedes and step out and, you know, go and check out the dormitory and get that great sea view and the smell of the country, and just say, this is the place for my boy.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's a little bit. Many movies have come with the, you know, the parents are gone and the babysitter goes wild. Well, it's a little bit like that, you know. The teachers are on best behaviour when on the open days, and then it's, you know, shit's in. I fucking spend my whole whole school time in detention.
Yeah.
It's awful, awful place. But then I think that coming from there, you get some understanding. Yeah, as I say, most people were brainwashed by it. You get some understanding that it's not real life, and that you kind of can react against something, I suppose. Yeah.
And do you get a feel of real life?
I don't know. Well, maybe having been conscious of this falsity makes you understand it, because it's just totally divided. You know, it's where I think that the 96 is my favourite tram in Melbourne for the best reason. You know, you get the junkies from Fitzroy, and you get the office crowd at 9 o'clock, which I am also a part of. You get the office crowd at 9 o'clock sitting next to these dudes that are fucking off their dials, going to St Kilda to score, or, you know, whatever. And so you get the two total polarised, you know, thing where you're in a city and you've got the trendy, you know, I always hold it up as Brunswick Street versus Smith Street, you know, where you've got this honesty of Smith Street, you know, bakeries and, you know, the pubs down there is probably not as good, but then how do you define an honest pub anymore? Anyway, just even maybe it seems to be selling out under my nose.
So, what do you identify? What sort of things do you like?
What do I like about Fitzroy?
Yeah, like on the coast.
I think it's feeling, probably best summed up by okay, so I'm riding my bike back from uni. Yeah, you know, and I'm being all formal, riding with my hands on the handlebars. I got booked once for riding improperly. It's $50 for riding with no hands.
Yeah.
You know, so you round the corner into Brunswick Street from Victoria, and it's Fitzroy rules apply. You know, you just see these dudes cruising around, with, you know, bare feet, no helmet, you know, fucking high roller BMXs down the tram tracks on Brunswick Street, and you just like, this place is so fucking cool. And just, you know, dudes everywhere, and it's really relaxed attitude. I don't want to talk it up too much because I've also been the most fucking isolated and depressed in this town. But you caught me on a good day. You keep rocking the camera when you laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, so that's. I mean, my attraction from Fitzroy, yeah, it stems from some kind of, I don't know, unity with the city. Yeah, it's gritty. It's gritty down here. It's. I purposely. I mean, it's kind of. Yeah. I mean, this kind of kooky people. Yeah, you know, Brunswick Street. I mean, the honest, the genuine kooky people. Your old crew. Your you know, it's like your crazy kids hanging out at that hostel on Brunswick Street, and then, you know, of course, the rehab centre, is it? Up on the corner of Gertrude. I don't know what it is. Yeah, some incidents and stuff. You know, it's just this kind of, you know, city grittiness of really expensive real estate and, you know, living in the shadow of the commission flats. That's another reason for my move from Albert Park. I think that, I mean, if we're talking about globalisation, you're talking about cities, you're talking about comparisons, then a friend of mine pointed out quite intelligently to me that one of the main differences between Melbourne and Sydney is that Sydney doesn't have any inner city kind of lower class commission housing. I mean, Australia's a classless society. Excuse me. But yeah, so apparently, I don't know, but I'm sitting on this balcony underneath, you know, 900 flats of 2x4 meters. Yeah. So that's another reason for moving from Albert Park as well. That I've always been in the shadow of a commission flats. You know, you walk out your street and there's. I've been being kind of, you know, a bit arrogant over the whole thing, but maybe not arrogant, but it's unfair to make generalist comments about the people that live in commission flats. But definitely, it's half where the interesting people stem from, or the clash in those kind of people as well.
So how do you think that the people in the commission flats fit into your understanding of globalisation?
I think that it's something they make it definably Melbourne. Yeah, their kind of relationship, you know, rather than the treatment of, you know, lower class housing in these kind of states, outer suburbs, you know, and you get, I mean, geographically you get the division. So in Melbourne, it just makes for so much, you know, more interesting kind of connections. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really understand your question.
Well, the people in the commission flats, like, where do you think they come from?
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I mean, totally the multiculturalism. I mean, it's a fucking buzzword through and through, but it doesn't, you know, undermine anything about the fact that the majority of the people in there are from ethnic background, you know, and you get this great, you know, it's no longer, it reflects in all the retail narratives as well. You know, you've got your great Chinese grocery stores and your Vietnamese bakeries and and restaurants down Smith Street. You know, they just bring so much to it. I'm kind of unsure of the whole how the placement works. I hear there's killer waiting lists on those things. You know, everyone wants a part of it, but
So that would be a positive side to globalisation. You got diversity and ethnicity.
Yeah.
Cool shops around.
Cool, yeah, well, that's right. You know, I mean, it's being such a, you know, on the world map scale, geographically, again, Melbourne's just in the bottom corner of the world, and you've got a total fucking, you know, arse end of the globe, and to have all this crew living here, you know, I mean, whether what they bring is, I mean, it's kind of a bit dodgy when you go into a Vietnamese restaurant and there's Japanese and Chinese and, you know, heaps of this kind of, they feel like they're representing the Southeast Asian thing, but I mean, that's fair call, surely.
So what about negative sides of globalisation? Do you think threatened?
Well, I think that the only thing threatening diversity in Fitzroy is not the multicultural polarisation of the suburb, but maybe the I want to find a better word than class, but the class thing, you know, and the Brunswick Street versus Smith Street pretty much sums it up for me. And I mean, it is easy to talk about retail as representative of where the suburb's at, but certainly the young and trendies have thoroughly infiltrated. I don't claim to be anything but that. You know, epitome of it. But I mean, you get the feeling that it's this, you know, good and honest working class suburb that's since been overrun by a desire for that's totally confused in consumerism. Yeah. So you've got this great heritage of, you know, pub on every corner, and, you know, great architecture of the working suburb, but then, you know, there's new kids on the block, and all their money is just, I mean, pals of mine go away. They leave town, flee for the Brunswick Street Festival, and I mean, that's kind of almost my one day of the year where I just say, fuck it, this place is so fucking cool, all these young people. But you get the feeling that, I mean, there's, not only the class opposition, surely the crew and the commission flats don't find the Brunswick Street Festival as exciting as everyone. I mean, the way it feels to me is people get lost on their way to Chapel Street and wind up in Fitzroy for the Brunswick Street Festival, you know. And the town changes so much. But then, that's why I like to live here, you know. I mean, because my previous experience with Fitzroy and why I almost, I mean, my naive choice of suburbs to live in was based around this fucking party town that's brought up in the Brunswick Street Festival. But as soon as you become a local, you know, and you know heaps of crew around, and you kind of, even though you migrate for all the wrong reasons, you become so much further embedded in it. You know, you become honest. And maybe that's certainly why I came here. Just wanted to throw myself in the deep end. I look at a few places, and they were better kept, they were bigger, they were nicer. And I was like, no, fuck that, I want the shitty...
In the suburbs?
No, in Fitzroy. And they were cheaper. But then I've got this gritty place. I mean, you tell the story, Craig, of my house being sold for twice as much as it was probably worth under shifty circumstances.
It was the slum parent.
Totally. A fucking Barnett... Just slipped through his fingers, Barnett guy. Cleared the land for the commission fund. But no, so I looked at these really nice places and then thought, you know, give me the gritty city, give me the shared backyard, the toilet at the back, the hills hoist on the concrete balcony, and I think it's still pointing the right way. I don't know, and maybe it was just, I mean, totally reactionary to what I've been, you know, raised on. My father went to fucking Eton, went to the most expensive private school in Australia, and now I'm working 2 days a week and doing uni and struggling to pay. I had my phone bill cut off yesterday. My phone cut off yesterday. So, I mean, but the, you know, the hard thing is just, I mean, you feel like you're such a, you know, like why do you want to do this? My parents say, what is your problem? Like, fuck you, and
what do your parents want?
Well, my parents just think what I'm doing is ridiculous. You know, I've got this safety cord that is always going to be there, and so my independence, no matter how hard I try to support myself, my independence is always totally undermined by, oh fuck, I can't pay the rent. Call my mum and dad, look, and, you know, phone, and no one else has that, and so it's just, you know, and I never end up paying them back. You know, it's like I'm just living at home, but with some glorified, you know, place for a party. Yeah, it's much more welcoming. Yeah, it's better to have sex in your own house than with your parents and seeing who you wake up with. You know, that's what it comes down to. No, it probably does. Yeah, aside from all the, you know, overstated reasons for Fitzroy, that my girlfriend at the time also lived with their parents, and so moving out was top of the list, you know. I mean, it's just kind of bringing them under 80, and probably doesn't have so much weight.
So do you think you'll stay in Fitzroy for a long time? Or
I don't know what
where you're at?
No, I don't know what I'd do if I left. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do. I mean, you visit people in the outer suburbs, and you're like, how can you live here? You know, there's something about being able to. This morning I woke up at 5 to 9, and I was like, fuck, I've got to be at work in 5 minutes. I had shower, brekkie, was in work in 20 minutes. You know, there's something just kind of fresh about that, where you don't have to. It's spontaneity is what inner city, I mean, inner suburb living is. You know. Where you can just, you can walk home, you can, just do things, run into people. You got this, I mean, I'm totally fucking insecure. as far as I can't be at home alone without just like, what, you know, am I missing out on or something? That's probably, you know, legacy of my age. 19 years old, and, you know, spent the half of last semester living alone, and it was kind of bizarre. And if I hadn't been in Fitzroy and knew heaps of people in the pub, then I don't know what I would have done. Living at home would have been crazy. Look at my nervous peeling of the beer bottle.
What do you see as negative things that could happen to Fitzroy, especially in terms of how it affects you, how it may affect things that you actually like about Fitzroy?
Well, I mean, me not as much as most of my friends get a bit kind of, what, you know, who are these people? You know, when you sit, I mean, the Labour in Vain, for example, has got a fantastic beer garden. You go up there and there's a great view of the city, the whole lot. I was up there the other day for some crazy reason, you know, just doing, I lived 50 metres from it all this time and never been in there. Went up there and there's 5 people out of probably 10 talking on mobile phones. And you're like, you know, what's going on here? What happened to this good, honest pub, you know, with a name like that and a billboard of, you know, serving draft and, I mean, a couple of wanky beers too, I suppose, but that's my problem. That's probably what's going to kill Fitzroy, and it's pretty oftenly stated point of view that
you mean
I'm talking about Chapel Street.
It's really like gentrification. Well,
just wankification, you know? And that's technical term. Where I don't fucking know, but it's, nah. When you got, you know, you've been into the perseverance, I don't need to explain myself any further, where you know, it's just kind of, like, who's your market? Who are these people that are living here? You know, and there's nothing about honesty anymore. It's something I grapple with every day. You know, truth. I study architecture, truth of materials, and truth of fucking.
What do you mean by honesty? Hard work.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Honesty. I mean, you know. Honesty as in Australian,
Yeah.
you know, as in true as heritage, not some kind of facade, you know. I'm talking about solid wood, I'm not talking about Laminex. I'm talking about, I'm mostly talking about pubs. The only time I ever spend in this place, in this town, I work in the city, get home, wind up in the pub and just then, you know, crash out, jump my fence and crash out. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely my experience with Fitzroy, is just through the pubs. And I think that if they keep getting bought out, I mean, the death of the punters, not that it's gone yet, but that's another, you know, it just kind of sums up the whole gentrification, wankification of the suburb here, where, I mean, the story goes that the owner of the punters, who's also got Phoenix in the city, has said, look, we can't afford the lease. And even he tried to fit into some sort of idealistic bracket where, you know, he tried to make the space more intimate. He tried to get away. The story goes that the only people that ever drank at the punters were locals, and they used to get too many free beers, so it was driving the place under. And so, in the attempt to catch a different crowd, he put in the booze and put in the pennies, and, you know, made a flat pool table and offered a few more exotic beers. So I think that if those kind of places are going to go, only because it's not like the people that are fueling it, but the people that are here, the old publicans that are trying to fit into some kind of ideal. Yeah. That's where it's not. I mean, they're chasing this market, but missing the mark, you know, because, you know, it's losing the honesty and the transformation, you know. There's nothing wrong with a trendy bar, and having said Phoenix has killed the punters, you know, it's got its place, and it's not going to work in Fitzroy, that's for sure.
Do you think it's like a tension between what's local in Fitzroy and what's outside Fitzroy? Is that the tension?
Yeah, totally. So there's this aspiration, maybe an aspiration from. Well, there's this. I don't know. But it's the rejection of so much heritage is, I think, the problem, you know. And so you've got this tension of a really progressive world, you know, and a couple of internet cafes pop up on Brunswick Street, and everyone thinks that they need to serve Stella. But I mean, you know, to just throw all that away so quickly, and I mean, your warehouse conversions and your fucking, you know, all that stuff is it just seems really naive. You know, people are going to come back and totally regret everything they've done to the suburb, and you know, physically it's driving the culture into a spiral, you know, which is where the comparison. I mean, you know, real estate goes up, and man, I really need to go to the bathroom. Can you do it? Pause.
That's thanks.
Is that all good?
Yeah.
All done?
Unless you want to talk.
Nah, I think that's enough. Thank you. Thanks, Craig.